Will Smith's Bad Boys 4 film generated over $100 million globally its opening weekend at the box office, which means a lot of people went out and still supported Will Smith despite his smack heard around the world in 2022 to Chris Rock at the Oscars. One person that did not support the film was none other than Stephen A. Smith. On his show, Stephen A. admitted that he still got a problem with the fact that Will hasn't publicly addressed what happened between him and Chris. Chris Rock will never get over that, ever. Will Smith apologized. I'm not saying he even has to apologize. I'm saying that while I watch him and Martin promote this movie, and I'm quite sure the reason he hasn't addressed is because the studios don't want him to, and there's an obligation that you have with him. All is fair, I get it. You got to have a conversation as to why you did that. It's primarily us as black people that have loved and supported and watch you go on to the international stage and slap one of us in the face. A lot of folks ain't over that. A lot of folks find it hard to go to the movies to watch you. Stephen A. said, I'm one of those people, and I have never missed a Will Smith movie until now, said Stephen A. on his podcast. I have a question for you guys. And y'all know it hurts me to ask this question because anybody that's been a long time supporter of this platform, y'all know I got immense love for Stephen A. Got to work under the brother for a few weeks and shadow him for a few weeks. Don't know him, but I got to shadow him. I always tell that story because it's one of my greatest accomplishments. I love the fact that I worked at ESPN. But I'm a truth teller first. Stephen A. will want me to do that. My question for the people is, if I had to ask you what Stephen A. Smith's top demographic right now, what would it be? Most people, I can tell you out the gate what their demo is. Like, okay, I'll use me for an example. I reach a lot of people online. When I first started, my demo was, I think 35 to 49 was the strong suit of my demo. I'm from Memphis. A lot of my videos when I first started out catered to Memphis. That was my demo, 35 to 49, black male, Memphis. I started doing a lot of lady videos. We enhanced the demographic. We brought the women into the fold. The ladies started kicking it up on the rap scene. Right now, my demo, I think, is probably between the age of 25 to 49. I've been able to decrease the age of my demo by 10 years, which is a big deal, by the way. So it's probably 25 to 49 black person. That would be my guess if I could like pinpoint my demo. Stephen A. obviously is a very rich man and works for a very big company in ESPN. If I had to ask you the question, what is his demo? The reason why I bring that up is I don't think the brother has one. Obviously, people tune in to Stephen A. every day, but the fan in me, I talk sports, debate, television with a lot of people. A lot of people know I used to work at ESPN, so they always come to me and ask me about different little stuff. And when I hear people talk about Stephen A., I love the brother. I hear a lot of people say when he comes on the TV, I turn it off. If I asked you what Shannon Sharpe demo was, I would say if you're a football fan, you would enjoy Shannon Sharpe's commentary. If you're a LeBron James fan, you would enjoy Shannon Sharpe's commentary. If you don't like LeBron, you would enjoy Shannon Sharpe's commentary. I guess maybe you could say Stephen A. is the Dallas Cowboy hater. To me, that brand works better when it's next to a Dallas Cowboy fan, a la the Skip Bayless. I don't know if Stephen A. has a brand anymore. I don't necessarily associate him as a sports aficionado, despite the fact that he is on a sports program, multiple ones every day. I just think he's fishing for a brand. That's how I feel. And I love Stephen A. I've told this to people, which who cares what I got to think about anything. I've told this to people that still work at ESPN to this day. I said, I think the brother is missing out on his brand. When I hear him make comments like the one he made about Will Smith, I don't think black people feel that way at all. And I think a lot of black people feel like Stephen A. shouldn't be speaking for them. Clearly, the box office shows you that people went out and supported Will Smith and Martin Lawrence Bad Boys 4 film, despite whatever was there between Will and Chris Rock. The numbers speak for themselves, whether Stephen A. went and saw the film or not. I don't think black people feel that way. Every time I go to a family reunion, I always hear R. Kelly. Every time I go to a function, I hear R. Kelly. What he's been accused of and found guilty of, You think people gonna turn off Will Smith, not support Will Smith over a slap? When a lot of people can relate to feeling like you got disrespected and had or wanted to put your hands on somebody? I don't think people of at least our demo feel slighted by Will at all. As a matter of fact, if we want to be honest, Will Smith is more of our culture than Chris Rock has ever been. So it's Will Smith. It's a guy that we feel like we grew up with, right? That's been in our house since we were kids. You're telling us that you thought we weren't going to support the film? And the man did $100 million the opening weekend globally? And a lot of that with black people's films all over the country were filled with black people going to see Will? I never thought black people were going to stop supporting Will Smith. Never. And I think this is another example of Stephen A. Smith fishing for a brand. That sounds good in theory, right? To say black people are not supporting Will because of the slap. That's actually not what happened. And I've yet to be in a conversation. I'm a 30-year-old male with people, with friends or family, ever heard anybody say, I'm not going to see Will Smith next movie because he smacked Chris Rock on television. What I have heard people say, though, is I'm not watching First Take because I cannot stand Stephen A. I'm just being honest. Like, I never thought black people were not going to support Will Smith. I never thought that anywhere. My whole thing was, it's going to be good to see Will Smith double down with black people because now he feels like he's kind of got to go back to the well of how it all started because he's seeing how fickle Hollywood can be following the Oscar slap. I never thought black people were going to turn on Will Smith. And I don't think black people want Stephen A. speaking for them right now on that one because I don't think that's true. Time, love, and support. And by the way, the box office agrees with me. Let me know your thoughts. Stephen A. Smith said, Will got to apologize or talk about it with one of these media outlets. Number one, nobody was going to get that answer out of Will Smith. He was never going to talk about Chris Rock. Will did interviews everywhere, went to Hot 97. He did some black outlets. Him and Martin went all around. They did a lot of outlets, not just black, but a lot. And no Chris Rock question got asked. You think that's an accident? I'm sure that was a contractual agreement that said, if you ask one question about Chris Rock, this whole station, this whole podcast will never shoot another episode. Be clear about that. You are not asking him about Chris Rock, but I also don't feel like it was an obligation for Will to publicly speak about Chris Rock. I didn't feel like he needed to do that. Would have been nice, but I don't think he needed to. Time, love, and support is what your boy would never take for granted. Salute. I'm out. If you are like me and love flexing your NBA knowledge, you should head over to the best place to play fantasy sports. That's Underdog Fantasy. For me, I love the pick'em game. It's super simple to play too. All you got to do is go to the Underdog Fantasy website or app, pick whether a player will have a higher or lower stat line for that game, get all your picks right, and you can win up to 20 times your money. And when you sign up, if you use my code Ferro, your deposit will get doubled. You can't beat that. Again, head over to today's sponsor, Underdog Fantasy's website or app, use my code Ferro, and your first deposit will get doubled. Do you want to see your favorite athlete live in action next time they're in your town? Or do you want to see your favorite artist performing in concert next time they're in a city near you? Head over to the SeatGeek website or app and use my code HoopsFerro for $20 off your first purchase. Make sure you subscribe to the It's Mr. Taliaferro YouTube channel, and hey, donate a super chat. Follow me on Facebook at It's Mr. Taliaferro, cop a supporter badge. The Underdog Fantasy promo code is Ferro. The SeatGeek promo code is HoopsFerro. And follow me on Twitter at It's Mr. Ferro.